And welcome to the Pioneer Sideline New Look. We're going to start out with the Courthouse Tavern Case of the Week. I'm your host, Aaron Cooney, episode 131 coming at you, and returning champion Kevin Calhoun here, representing the belt.
Discount double check.
That's right. And we're going to go right into it. This week's case, the top team in the East in the NHL. And guys, a lot of teams up there. The Penguins are among them. So who do you got? We'll start right here with Chris.
Well, you said it, Aaron. The Penguins, they're number one in the East right now, second in the NHL with 36 points. And just look at the standings. They're first in the East. You said we're arguing top team in the East.
Well, it's going to be the showdown tonight, Aaron. You look at the Boston Bruins are going to take on the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. And this team started out 3-7 at the beginning of the season, and they have only tied one game in overtime. They're 12-0-1. It's thus far since starting 3-7, and it's really hard to be a team that's won that many games in a row. So I think it's going to be the game of the night against the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Boston Bruins.
You guys are overlooking a team that's played less games than both of your teams and has the same number of points as the Bruins. That's the New York Rangers. You got Henrik Lundqvist in net. And by the way, they're on their own little 5-game win streak right now. The Rangers are playing very good hockey. And by the way, they're doing this without their best defenseman in Mark Stahl.
Well, that's what the Penguins were at the beginning of the season. They were without Sidney Crosby until a couple weeks ago, and they were still battling for that top spot. Now the three-headed monster's back with Sid, Malkin, Stahl. That's just too much talent to compete with no matter who you are.
You really got to look at the defense, though. You just saw that Michalek and Letang just got they have concussions now, so it's going to be really questionable if the Penguins can stir up some victories without their two top defensemen, and you really got to be question marks around those.
Don't overlook this Rangers team. If you want to talk about a three-headed monster, you can look at a five-headed monster with this team with guys like Richards or Callahan or Gabrick or all these guys in New York. Plus, for me, in the long run, I like Henrik Lundqvist over Tim Thomas and Marc-Andre Fleury.
Marc-Andre Fleury right now is one of the top leaders in goals against average and wins.
So are the other guys.
Last time I checked, wins are what gets you points. And then the Penguins' fourth line. I mean, Asham, Adams, they can contribute goals like we've seen the other night. How many other teams have a fourth line like that?
Yeah, but these teams have been beaten by but you look at the Boston Bruins, they've beaten teams by a margin of about 5 goals in these contests, and in the times that there have been close games, have been shutouts. You look at Tim Thomas, he's a 1.93 goals against average. That is outstanding, and you're just going to continue going on a fire. The house of fire, like you have to say, Chris. But I think the Bruins have a really good shot of being the top team in the East, and the Penguins are just injury prone. I don't think the Rangers have proven themselves yet.
If you want to talk stats, I mean, you got to look at the fact that save percentage is more important than GA when you talk about a team if they're not winning games. Henrik Lundqvist save percentage, better than Tim Thomas, better than Marc-Andre Fleury. Henrik Lundqvist is the elite goaltender in here, and you're talking about a team, again, without their best defenseman. The Penguins have injuries now. They're going to have Letang and Michalek out for an extended period of time, possibly. Talking about a Bruins team that started off the year terribly. If they fall back into that they fall into that funk, the Rangers have been the most consistent team. They have the least number of games played out of these three teams, and they have the same number of points as the Bruins. They're 3 points back of the Pittsburgh Penguins with 4 less games played.
But let's not forget the Penguins' new secret weapon that's not so secret anymore, James Neal. He's got 14 goals. That's 6th in the NHL. For someone who only had 2 goals last season, that's including the playoffs, he's come in real strong this year. One of the top goal scorers, and this is without any real help because Malkin was out for a little bit. Crosby was out for a while, so James Neal really took this team on his back.
Without any help. Without any help.
He's had a lot of help.
He's on the best line. He's on arguably the best line in hockey.
You look at the top 3 lines, and those are the very good 1, 2, and 3 lines for the Penguins. But you look at the defending championship and the Boston Bruins. They started 3-7, and now they came all the way to 12-0-1. You know, we really can't discount a team that started that poorly in the season, and now they're playing an outstanding style of hockey. And I just don't think you can not mention a team that's gone all the way from that losing record.
Again, I think they deserve the mention, but when you want to talk about a complete hockey team without an elite defenseman, it's got to be the Rangers.
I mean, all around, everybody's got their injuries. And Matt, I think for Boston, you're missing the biggest argument for them is depth. That's what's carried them throughout this stretch that they're gone.
Tyler Seguin's leading that team in points.
And you just go up and down their 3 lines. But the things that bothers me, Penguins, we talked about their defense, Michalek and Letang now out. But I don't know how the Rangers can go much farther when Mark Stahl is going to be out, and you basically have 2 younger guys, McDonough and Del Zotto, back in that blue line. Girardi's got a lot of minutes to play, and that's going to be tough for them to follow up.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you're going to compare them to these other two teams, you want to talk about young defensemen. How about Dupre and Bortuzzo on the same line for who knows how long, while Letang and McCulloch are out of the lineup? All of these teams have their injuries. If you want to talk the most depth, the most deep lineup, it's probably in Boston. That's fair. They have, in my opinion, a deeper lineup than Pittsburgh does right now, especially on the defensive side. But I think New York is the most complete team, and the way they're doing this without one of their best PK guys in Mark Stahl, and also he can be an offensive weapon. They're extremely good. Again, less games played, and they're on the same level of points.
See, I think it's only going to last for so long. You said Mark Stahl's been playing out of his head right now, and I think that's going to have to come to an end. You look at, as
Doesn't
you
have
said,
a head.
Yeah, he doesn't have a head.
He's out with a concussion, but
Well, yeah.
Girardi's the man that's been picking it up for them. That's really what they've been relying on.
But as you said, Aaron, I think the Bruins have a great depth of their roster right now, and they've been playing very good hockey. I think it's going to be too much to be able to reckon with.
You mentioned Dupre and Bertuzzo, Kevin. Well, they showed against the Capitals. That's generally a team that's been very offensively
Not
talented.
this year. Not this year.
Still,
Washington's
you can't
terrible
count out
right
Washington.
now.
They still have Alexander Ovechkin.
Alexander Ovechkin's not in the top
Alexander Green.
200 players in time on ice this year. He's not in the top 200. You
He's
can't
still
talk
he's one
about
of the best
Washington as an
players in the
offensive
world. You
powerhouse
cannot
right now.
count him
They've
out.
got a goon
They
in
held
Dale
them to
Hunter
less
running
than
that team. It's a
25
joke.
shots.
Washington's a joke right now.
They're
A win
still
over
in the top
Washington is
8.
nothing. Florida's ahead of Washington in their division. That's all you need to know.
Still, Washington, you can't ever count them out. They're always consistent.
We're
Not right now.
stop. We're gonna stop it right there. I mean, hey, at least we got into it a little bit with a little bit of the fire from my right, at least. But I'm gonna have to give the belt to the returning champion. You held your arguments wrong. I mean, I like New York as well. We'll see how that defense holds up. We'll go from there. We're gonna step away for a quick commercial break, and we're gonna be coming right back. This is only the first segment of the show. We're gonna come right back with some basketball talk. Point Park, the basketball teams had a couple games themselves, so we'll talk about that when we come right back.